Alrighty. Hello, YouTube. Welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Cryptic Coil. Uh, Check out my shirt. I just bought this and a Scream hoodie from Walmart not too long ago. As, as some of you may know, last night was the world premiere of Scream 7. And believe you me, I was there. Okay, except I was wearing a Ghostface t shirt that says, "What's your favorite scary movie?" And I even rocked it with a blue flannel. And I had my hair slicked back with gel like Billy Loomis. So I had fun at that. Let me know in the comment section below if you would like me to do a review or give my thoughts on the movie and the direction of the franchise. Because I was really anticipating the release of that movie for a long time. It finally came out. I got to see it, and I'm just, kind of stoked. I got my fix of something, and I'm feeling good. But let's go ahead and move on to today's topic, which is a book review, and it will be a spoiler free book review. And the book that I would like to review is Sinclair Smith's Dream Date. And I'm actually going to go ahead and remove it from this protective sleeve. I can't find my reading copy. Okay, this is my collector's copy because it's in like mint or near mint condition. And I got this collector's copy in a book haul on eBay. And a bunch of these books came with these protective sleeves, which takes me back to my comic book geek collecting days. Anyway, the book that I'm reviewing in this video is Dream Date by Sinclair Smith, and for a moment, I'd just like you to behold the cover of this book. All right, so you have a creepy man's eyes watching, staring intensely, and you see a beautiful young lady, teenage girl, whatever, sleeping in the darkness with those eyes watching and staring intensely. This is a great looking book cover, in my opinion, and I love the font. All right, so let's read the tagline on the front: Sweet dreams and rest in peace. Now, let's go ahead and read the synopsis on back. Katie's worst nightmare has come true, and she's in it. Shy, pretty Katie longs to meet the perfect guy. She thinks she has when she falls asleep one night and meets Heath Granger in her dreams. Heath is handsome, charming, exciting, and if he's a little jealous, so what? He's only a dream. Or is he? Soon, Katie is sleeping more and more. While she's dreaming her life away, Heath is getting stronger and he's getting meaner, and he doesn't want to stay in Katie's dreams anymore either. He wants to visit her when she's awake. Katie's finding it harder and harder to tell what's real and what isn't. Her dream date has turned into a sleepwalk with terror. Okay, so with a synopsis like that, with a book cover like that, I was dying to read this one. And so when my friend Zach over at Shady Side Library, if you're watching my videos, I assume that you watch him too. But if you don't for some reason, please go check out Shady Side Library. All right. He decided to start a book club this year, and he asked to collab with me on it. And he let me pick. And I picked Dream Date because I've been dying to read this, which is why another booktube reviewer, Sean Stevenson, he reviewed this book not that long ago because he follows and watches my friend Shady Side Library, and he read along with us. He also did another book review on R.L. Stein's point horror novel The Snowman. I coincidentally read that book as well in January because it was my New Year's resolution to start reading again. And since it was the month of January, I wanted to do a winter read. So look out for a review on that book in the future as well. Uh, but getting back to Dream Dates. So let's see, when was this published? Okay, this book was published in 1993. It was printed in 1993 as well. All right, so this was my first ever Sinclair Smith read. I think I have all of her books. If not, I have at least most of them. But I think she's done about 7 point horror books, and I'm pretty sure I have them all. And this was the first one that I read. And I'm just going to kind of give you a brief description of the book. So, in the very beginning, like on the first page, and I hope you don't consider this to be a spoiler, she's not dating anybody. She's single. She's in high school. She just moved to a new town, maybe even a new state. But she's not from the area that she lives in now, and she wishes on a star one night that she could meet a guy. But she was picturing a certain kind of guy, so she starts to fall asleep and she starts to dream of this guy named Heath Granger. And the synopsis of the book said it best. I mean, he's handsome and charming and exciting. Okay, and at first she dreams of him and she can't forget this dream that she had. And then the next night she falls asleep again and dreams about him again and has a good time. Then she goes a night or two without dreaming about him, but then he starts to appear in her dreams more and more frequently, so she spends more and more time sleeping until his jealousy starts to alter his behavior, and he's not quite as charming, and she's not quite as excited to see him in her dreams anymore. And then she starts going to sleep and she starts taking heat from him because he knows what she's doing in real life. Like, oh, you were at school talking to another boy today, weren't you? Because she meets a boy named Jason, and he's cool and interesting and charming as well. And so now she's trying to figure out, like, how does he know these things? Is there anything I can do to hide things from him? Because he's gonna get triggered. Something's gonna set him off, and she doesn't want to kick the hornet's nest because she doesn't know what Heath is capable of, okay? And she has reasons to believe that he's capable of something because he does something from the dream world that affected her dog. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but that scene was chilling, okay? And there were a number of really chilling scenes, right? So if my description of the plot of this novel sounds reminiscent to you of the A Nightmare on Elm Street movies, that's because it was, okay? Sinclair Smith can say whatever, and listen, I'm sorry, I'm gonna assume this person's gender. I assume Sinclair Smith is a woman, okay? So she can say whatever she wants. I know that this novel was heavily inspired by A Nightmare on Elm Street. But something that was cool about it was that your Freddy Krueger villain wasn't a grotesque old man. It was a handsome young man. And I thought that was a really cool angle to take with this archetype of villain in a storyline like this that's so closely reminiscent to A Nightmare on Elm Street. Well, other things that I liked about the novel was I liked the characters, okay? I really liked Katie as a character. I kind of sympathized with her. I empathized with her a little bit. I liked the fact that, or I liked other characters too. Katie's and her family, they moved to this new location, right? And they got a house that's in this neighborhood that's on a hill. And there are these two girls, these twin girls that are about the same age as Katie. They go to the same school and they ride her school bus. And they're called the Tripler twins. They're twins. Their last name is Tripler. Their names are like Melody, Ann, and Sally Lou or something like that. Sally Lou and Melody Ann Tripler. I forgot exactly what their names were. But when Sinclair Smith introduced the twins to us, she was roasting them like a stand-up comedian or a battle rapper. My gosh, she was picking them apart for their looks, like bashing their looks, describing them with batty, pointy, bat-like pointy ears and like soft, doughy faces with eyes as flat as nickels. And I'm just sitting there reading this, like, good gosh. And then she starts saying what they lack in looks, they make up for in slyness and mean spiritedness. And it just makes you have no choice other than to hate these twins. And I'm just sitting there reading it, and I'm just like, geez, man, this is a good roasting, but who in your real life inspired these characters? Like, come on, Sinclair Smith, get on YouTube, put out a video, and tell us where these characters came from, because this was awesome. I loved it. I think a lot of people did, actually. But then Katie also meets a guy at school named Jason, and he's a cool guy. He's into horror, and she meets a girlfriend named Raquel, and Raquel is like a Latina girl, and she's really, really cool. And she's more than just a good friend. She actually, her character plays a very crucial and pivotal role in the transition from the second act to the third act. And I really love the way Sinclair Smith utilized Raquel to make that transition happen. And I loved Heath Granger as a villain because he had something. I don't know if he had something to teach us, but he certainly gave us something to talk about. And his presence and the way Sinclair Smith used him as an instrument to create horror, it was just fantastic because he's just kind of a different take on the Freddy Krueger character and making this novel very similar to a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. And Sinclair Smith's writing style was very cinematic. As I was reading this book, I felt like I was watching a movie because the words on the pages were conjuring very cinematic images in my mind. Okay, so another thing, I think the last thing that I'm going to say that I liked about this book was the fact that it did have some social commentary. It did have some kind of commentational. Look, there's a word, and you know what I mean. Okay, I don't know the word, but it's in that vein, and you probably know what it is. Okay, there's definitely a narrative going on in this novel, and the novel has to do with like bullies and how they treat other people and how they treat other people that they're in a romantic relationship with. And these same like bully type of personalities, how they only punch down, they never punch up, they never start something with someone who they know can fight back. And I thought that was fantastic. I was like, wow, this is pretty deep and meaningful, actually. And it kind of makes me wonder what Sinclair Smith has been through as a person to really describe the things that are going on in this book with the characters at hand, like with what Katie's going through and with who Heath Granger is, whatever he is. And I really loved the explanation that we got for where Heath Granger came from, and what his background was. I absolutely loved that. So that's what I liked about the book. Now, there is something major that I did not like about the book, and I did not like the final fight and the final act. And the reason why is because it felt rushed. It felt as if maybe Sinclair Smith was on a deadline and needed to get this to her editor or her publisher or whatever the case was. So the book is 213 pages long. And I think that in order to give us a more satisfactory ending and make the resolution more like to we definitely got resolution with this book, but uh, you know how when you watch a movie or you read a book and a character does something stupid and you're screaming at the screen like, no, don't separate from each other, stick together, or no, don't run through that door, the killer's inside waiting for you. Okay, at the end of the book, and this is even after the final fight, um, I don't want to say which character because I don't want to give you any kind of indication as to how the final fight goes down. But there was a character that did something stupid. They held on to something they shouldn't have held on to, and I thought to myself, if I wrote this book, to me, the common sense thing to do would be to do something different with that particular item. And I maybe if anybody's interested, I can do a spoiler book review about this, and I can tell you what I mean. But there was just something in the resolution and the ending of the story that I just really didn't like. And the final fight, gearing up for it was a lot of fun. But then when we got into it, it felt rushed because it was hard for me to envision it happen. And I lost that cinematic experience during the final fight. And so I read it and I reread it a couple of times. And I'm like, okay, the images are not conjuring in my mind, and I'm not able to picture this as clearly as I have been the rest of the novel. And so I just read through it to get through it, and I was like, okay, I get the gist. Like, it's not quite as cinematic, and it feels very rushed, and that's unfortunate. You know, if the book needed to be another few pages, I could have totally gone for another few pages, no problem. I just think that maybe towards the end of the novel, I do think that Sinclair Smith may have possibly been facing a deadline and might have just been rushed. And that's kind of why the third act may not have been as satisfactory as I wish it was, even though I'm more happy than not with the end of this novel. Okay, and so with that being said, I think I'm actually going to go ahead and give this book a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Now, if the third act was as good as it could have and should have been, 5 star rating, hands down, no doubt, no question. But uh, due to the fact that the ending did feel rushed, I just can't, in good conscience, give this book a full 5 star rating. Now, when I said that in the group chat on Shady Side Libraries channel when we were discussing this book that we read together as a book club, uh, Shady Side told me, "Yeah, Cryptic, you're the only one who gave it that high of a rating." I think that that Shady Side gave it a 4 star. There was one guy that gave it a 3.5 star, or one guy that gave it a 3 star. So it was usually between 3 to 4 stars. I just really enjoyed this book because it was my first point horror novel that I've ever read, and it left me feeling very satisfied. And it really made me want to start reading some more books, and I have. Instead of just buying books and hauling books, uh, I started reading this year, and I started with this one right at the beginning of the year, and I just had a great time with it. I'm a huge Nightmare on Elm Street fan. They haven't done a Nightmare on Elm Street film in a lot of years, and this just kind of satisfied that craving for me. And I did really enjoy Sinclair Smith's writing so much, and I just appreciate that cinematic experience that reading this novel was for me. It made me hungry for more. It gave me a craving, a yearning for some more Sinclair Smith books. So I think that the day is going to come fairly soon where I can say I've read all of Sinclair Smith's point horror books. And that's why I give it such a high rating. Uh, and I guess that's really all I have to say about this book. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. Uh, the book club highly enjoyed it as well. This was a really fun discussion over on Shady Side Library's channel. That video is still up, so if you haven't checked it out, I think you should. It was fun. I know that Sean Stevenson, another booktuber, he gave this a really good rating as well, and he recommended it himself. Is it okay for me to say that about other booktubers? Did I just overstep my bounds? If so, I apologize, and that's something that I'd like you to tell me in the comment section below. I opened my mouth and then that came out, and I thought nothing of it, but after it came out, I thought to myself, wait a minute. He's very touchy about spoilers, and if I'm over here telling you what he thought of the book and you haven't seen that video yet, I might have just crossed a line that I shouldn't have crossed. So please, please don't hesitate to let me know in the comment section below, because I'm not sure, but it feels iffy to me. All right, well, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you haven't read this book, I hope that maybe this review compelled you to go get yourself a copy, or if you already own it and haven't read it yet, to pick it up and actually read it. All right, thank you guys. Horns up and peace out.